Hey everybody, welcome to Tuesday, 6 April 2021. Today we're going to be talking about this. I want to go ahead and give this a second so it shows up on my other device here and I can share it to my Sealy Guy page. And we'll be simultaneously broadcasting. Awesome. All right. So, how is everybody doing today? I hope you guys are having a wonderful start to your April, almost 1 week down already. It's amazing how fast this goes by. I'll tell you, I don't know. I've already been 2 weeks down with my, hey, Don, thanks for joining. Oh my gosh, I'm not all put together here, am I? Oh, well, who cares, right? It's all good. I see. Mirror image. There it goes. All right. 2 weeks down already with my knee injury. And I'll tell you what, it's doing a lot better. I'm actually able to move around now. I'm happy about that, right? So I was thinking about happy. I was also talking with a dear friend of mine yesterday who has battled with depression as long as I've known her, over 5 years. And, she's just in a bad way again. So it got me thinking about it, referencing my book. We tried doing a little bit of work. Whether or not she's going to go forward and do the work, that's up to her. I can't do it for her. I can do it with her. But it got me thinking about this chapter in my book on happiness. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you as well. So my book, Discovering Your Authentic Truth, as you know, has helped a lot of people. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from it. One of my favorite chapters in this book, even though it's not the most important probably, but as I reflect back on it over the years, one of my favorite chapters is chapter 5, and it's a chapter entitled Happiness. And one of the reasons why, the secret to happiness, getting unstuck. And it's because one of the reasons why it led me to all this transformational work and learning all this neurolinguistics programming stuff is because I was stuck in life. And I wrote this chapter, and in essence, this chapter defines the theme of the book. So the very first question I have for you, what is happiness, right? I mean, we know what it is when we feel it and when we experience it, but we also notice its absence when we're not happy or when we're depressed or we're overcome by anxiety issues and stuff like that. And then along with that, is there a difference between happiness and joy? In the book, I mentioned too about how the definitions are interchanged in the dictionary. I've looked at several different dictionaries and they're always interchanged, right? Happiness is basically good fortune, pleasure, contentment, joy. And then joy is defined as great delight, a state of happiness. So they're kind of like equate the two. As I was going through my own discoveries and working with a lot of people, I started to realize that there is a difference between joy and happiness. And maybe it's all semantic. It's a way of defining what's the difference between the two. Maybe it's to describe the different states. So I've got this quote on page 58. No, I got statistics on page 58. Actually, I have this quote later on. I was going to talk about this later. I'll just talk about it now. It says, I've yet to come across a person with severe emotional challenges that wasn't disconnected from self-love. And I will stand by that 100%. And all this work that I did and all lots of people that I worked with and I've seen go through these different classes with Nirka and her courses, it is always comes down to the same thing, and that's self-worth. People come there maybe for their weight, weight issues. The four that I have highlighted in the book here is weight, finances, relationships, and then self-worth. But in essence, every one of those other top three, the weight, the finances, and relationships, it really comes back to self-worth. And when we're talking about self-worth, what I start talking about here in this book and I'm setting up is that we're disconnected from ourself, our I am, who we truly are in our heart of hearts. All right. And on page 58, that's what I was going to start out with. It gives you all these statistics about depression and anxiety and mental illness in the country. And of course, these are 4 years old. I didn't look up current stats. I can only imagine it's even worse with COVID going on right now. But back then, 1 in 4 adults experienced some sort of mental illness. I can only imagine that that statistic is much higher because COVID has decimated many people's lives. I mean, my sister-in-law right now, she's in palliative care over there in Germany. Elke can't really go and see her. Her parents can't go and see her. And who knows if she's going to make it through this. So she, there's a good chance she may be dying without family. I know that was a big case going on here a while back. You've got the elderly that are isolated. I mean, we are social beings. We need to be around people to give us that joy or happiness, right? And so COVID has really impacted that a lot. I could only imagine, and I'm sure there will be statistics of the number of people and the amount of medications sold by psychiatrists and doctors for anxiety and for depression. I will bet you we will look back in the next, over the last couple of years or year, it's only been a year, I guess now, of a great increase in those medications being delivered to people. Because Western medicine is all about using a drug to try to cover a symptom, right? To try to help out with the symptom. 15 million people live with a major depression. 42 million live with anxiety of some sort, like it could be PTSD or something along those lines as well, right? The hospital or going to a doctor for a physical ailment is perfectly fine. Going there for something that's bothering you upstairs, that's got a dogma associated with it, right? You're seeing your shrink. That's got a dogma associated with it. And it's wrong. I use a quote in the book. I'm not going to read it now, but I've got a quote in the book that's talking about a Belgian, I think he's from Belgium, a neuroscientist. And he's talking about why is that? Why is it okay to go to a doctor, you break your knee like me, you go to your doctor, but you got a broken heart or you got a broken mental capacity to be able to handle life, but that's not quote unquote okay. It's a sign of weakness, and that should be eradicated. So how do you bridge people to help them, right? How can you force them? My first question was, what is happiness? Is there a difference between happiness and joy? And we're going to address that. My second question is, can you force yourself to be happy, right? Is it possible to force yourself to be happy? And I will say, yeah, actually, you can. And I will tell you one way to do that. Jump up and down and say, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. Jump up and down, say, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, with a smile on your face. It will certainly shift your state, but it's temporary. What we're talking about is going in deeper and to be able to get out of that sunken feeling, the blues, if you will, right? I mean, who do you know who seems unhappy most of the time? And that's what we're really talking about, right? A lot of this is instilled in us when we're young. I mean, very young, 0 to 7 years old. And a lot of that early on programming sets up how we see the world for the rest of our lives. And some sort of trauma that happens, and this lady I was talking about, or in the beginning of this, she suffered a lot of trauma when she was about 4 years old. That trauma sets up a certain way of seeing the world, because when that trauma happens at that age, there's no filter to try to understand it. A prime directive of the subconscious mind is to protect the body. So in some way, the subconscious mind turns that awful event into a sign of peace, love, security, happiness. As messed up as that sounds. And so that person seeking that peace, love, and security in an ill ecological way, in a way that actually hurts the body. And there is a way to bridge that gap. There is a way through this work, as I talk about in this book, there is a way to go in and rewrite the coding deep within that subconscious mind. But the subconscious mind has to know without a doubt, flipping the ones and zeros, if you will, to know without a doubt that this new way is going to be better for the body. And until that new coding is in place, the subconscious mind is always going to revert back to the old program from when it was instilled. The secret to overcoming depression, to overcoming anxiety issues, is going to the root cause the very first time anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame ever entered. For something like PTSD, say war, or a police officer, or something that went through something unimaginable and is living with it day after day after day. Spousal abuse is another one of those that comes up to mind. Those types of issues, even though it didn't happen when you're early on, how you deal with it later in life can still be being driven by something early on. When you change the programming from early on, it recontextualizes your entire past history. Now, for certain things like spousal abuse or something in your adult years, obviously those can also be addressed through these same sort of exercises and techniques. But still, once you get over that, then we still want to go back to the very, very early on definitions of it. So when we're talking about happiness and we're talking about joy, I came up with, through my work, a different definition. You see, to me, happiness is something that you attract into your life. It's the reason why if you go out, and you go out and buy the new car, right? And you're all excited about the new car and you're very happy during those moments of having the new car and it's all that new experience. But over time, that new experience fades. And then maybe, I need the new car next year, or I need a new house, or I need a new purse, or I need a new dress, or I need a new whatever it is. And you go out and you try to purchase it, trying to purchase your happiness. It'll never suffice unless something else happens first. And that is finding your true inner joy, your true I am, reconnecting. The number one reason why people came to me while I was doing the work, people that get the most out of this book, people that have attended courses in this area, is because they are disconnected from their I am. And that results in a lack of self-worth, which creates all sorts of challenges. So if we can help a person fall back in love with themselves again, then you find that inner joy. And when you have that inner joy, you have that peace, love, and security, that self-confidence, that self-worth, that you're of value, then nothing out there can ever hurt you again. So one of the big things that a lot of people have written me, that they found that about themselves again, they've fallen in love with themselves just in reading this book without me actually working with them. So finding that connection, and it's not right or wrong, it's just what is. It's just something that happens. So the theme that I start addressing here in chapter 5 is that we're born in love, the happy baby. And then life happens. And as life happens, these different situations of anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame enter into our lives. We disconnect. We start getting disconnected from our true I am. And then that inner joy starts to leave us. And then we're seeking for it out there when the answers are within all along. I kind of came up with this theory on my own. I had never seen it anywhere. I mentioned in the book, I've never read this anywhere. I've read, 500-700 books in self-help in different areas, listened to countless audios, all that stuff, been to different classes. I've never heard anyone talk about joy and happiness in this light before. And then after I wrote the book, a couple years after the book, I was reading through some Osho, who is a major philosopher. I love that guy. Osho is amazing. And all of a sudden I read something from him that lined almost exactly with what I had said. And I was looking for the quote today and I couldn't find it. I got it stored somewhere and I'm searching through my journals, searching through my phone, and I can't find it. I have it somewhere. If I do come across it, I'll put it in the comments. But I did find this quote for him, which is along the same lines. And that is, the fruit does not come from the outside. The fruit is created within you. And that's the same thing I'm saying. You cannot go out there and get happiness. In my opinion, you find the inner joy, and then happiness finds you. Everything you look at with new eyes. You're excited. You're living in a moment of gratitude every single moment of the day. If you take an exit for a moment and you have a fit of anger, or somebody really upsets you, or whatever it might be, that's fine. But you will find yourself returning very, very quickly to that inner joy, and all of a sudden you see beauty all around you. It's magical. And this book may help you with something like that, or if you know somebody, I think it can help you too. And so my final question for you is, are you connected? Do you believe you are connected to your I am? Do you feel that peace within you at all times? Do you know who you are? I talk about it all the time. I'm always wearing my cross. I'm very connected, I believe, with Jesus as my Lord and Savior. He lives within me. He's a part of me. It's who I am, right? That gives me an additional sense of peace, an additional person that I can always turn to because he's always with me. He'll never leave me, right? No matter how bad life is, I have that spiritual connection. And it's okay if you don't believe in Jesus, you don't believe in God, but I would encourage you to get connected with that spiritual source within you, all right? Because that is going to help you find yourself again, your true I am. And then you can live a life of pure happiness. So I'm going to end it with that. Thank you so much for joining as always. And we'll see you on Thursday, same time. We'll have a new topic. Bye-bye.